So in the last class we have seen, so what is a mixing class is? I said what is a mixing class and what are the basic steps for developing a mixing class? So for developing a mixing class, I said you have to develop a class and inside this class you have to override the methods of view class. Okay, you have to develop a class and inside this class you have to override the methods of view class. So these are the examples what we have seen. So after this, so let me talk about some model relationships. So whenever you talk about developing application, so whenever you talk about developing application, so you never store the data in one model. Okay, you never store data is never stored in one model. You try to store the data into number of models. Models means table here. You never store the data in one table. Okay, suppose you are developing a project. In project, you never store all the data in one table. You try to store the data into number of tables. So number of tables means you try to create number of models. You create a number of models. Suppose you are developing a payroll project, so which belongs to employees. So where you put employee details in employee table and you put department details in what? Department table. You put employee details in employee table and you put department details in what? Department table. And you generate the relationship among EMP table and what? DPT table. And assume that there is one more table called some salary table, which contain the information about salary. You generate the relationship between employee salary as well as what? Depart. So why you divide? Dividing is to avoid data redundancy. Same. To avoid data redundancy. You don't require to repeat the same data again and again. That is what you learn in your database classes. To avoid data redundancy and to avoid data inconsistency. So these things can be avoided. Data redundancy can be avoided. Data inconsistency can be avoided by dividing into number of tables. And then you generate a relationship between one table and another. So, so model relationships are the relationship. So what I'm talking about is model relationships. So what I'm talking about is model relationships. So generating relationship between one and more than one model. Generating relationship between one or more than one model. So you can generate a relationship among these models. So generating relationship between generating relationships between so relationship between models or what is that? Tables. See these relationships you can do it at the back end. You can do these relationships at what here? Backend. Backend means at the time of creating what tables. This relationships defined at the time of defining or creating tables, or you can also create a relationship between these tables at the time of developing which one? Models. So generating relationship between models or what? Tables. So by generating relationship between models, between models. So the data can be divided. The data can be divided into okay, number of models, so that data redundancy can be avoided. Data redundancy can be avoided and maintain integrity. Right? So maintain the data integrity, accuracy or integrity, right? So this is possible by dividing the data into number of models or number of tables. Okay, right? So ORM support different types of relationships. So actually, how many types of relationships here is? Okay, three types of relationships you have. That is called a one-to-one relationship. So one-to-one relation, one-to-one. So one-to-one relation. And second one is one-to-many relation. One-to-one relationship and one-to-many relationship. Okay, one-to-one relationship, one-to-many relationship. And next one is many-to-many relationship. So one-to-one relationship, one-to-many relationship, and many-to-many. So total many relations are there here? Three. One-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many. So first we'll talk about one-to-one relationship. One-to-one relationship. So in one-to-one relationship, in one-to-one relationship, okay, one row, in one model, okay, is mapped with one row in another model. So what is that? One-to-one relationship is nothing but in one-to-one relationship, one row in one model is mapped with one row in what? Another model. Means, for example, if you take, assume that student is there. There is a student and student card. Okay, student is there and student progress report card is there. So student model contains student data and student report card contains student report details. So one student should have only one student report card. One student is having only one student report card, but one student cannot have multiple report cards. One student can have how many report cards? Only one report card. But one student cannot have multiple report cards. One student can have only one student report card, but one student cannot have what? Multiple report cards. This is called what? One-to-one relation. So this is called one-to-one relation. For example, one student, okay, student is there and there is a course is there. So one student can join only one course. One student can join only one course. So that is what again one-to-one relation. One-to-one. It means one record in student should have one record in what? Student card. Now this you can call it as what? One-to-one relation. One-to-one relation. Okay. So in one-to-one relationship, one row in one model is mapped with one row in what? Another model. I just prepared some notes, I think. Yes. So this is one more. So a one-to-one relation means each record in one model is linked with exactly one record in what another model. This is vice versa also. It means this is from left to right and right to left. So one report card is assigned to only one student. One report card is assigned to only one student. So this is a definition here. In one-to-one relation, one row. One row means what here? One record. One row in one model is mapped with one row in what another model. A one-to-one relationship means each record in one model is linked to exactly one record in what another model, and this can be vice versa. And how to generate one-to-one relationship. 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 So one-to-one relationship can be generated by using models dot. Okay, there is one data type, there is one class, and what is the name of the class is one to one field. What is the name of the field? One to one field. Here, one-to-one field. By using this one-to-one field, you can generate which relationship here? One-to-one relationship. What is the name of the field is? One-to-one field. One-to-one field. By using this one-to-one field, you can generate what? One-to-one relationship. Okay, right? Example is, now I just prepared some example. Employee and employee ID cards. Suppose you join in the company. If you join in the company, every employee is issued what? One ID card. Right now, this is having which details? ID card details. And this is having which details? Employee details. Okay, this is having employee details, and this is having what? Employee ID card details. Now let me create this. Example is, so let me develop this example. Example is employee. There is one model called employee. There is one model called employee, and there is one more is what? Employee ID card. So there is employee and there is employee ID card. So one employee in employee model is having one employee ID card, right? So it means one employee, each employee in a employee model, employee model is having. So each employee in employee model is having okay, one employee ID card, one employee ID card. So one employee is having one ID card. That is what one-to-one relationship here. That is called one-to-one relation. So how to develop this? So let me, any example you can take, right? Any example you can take. Record, not fields. Field, okay. So each employee and employee model is having one employee ID card, one employee ID card, right? So let me write an example this. So we'll take another project here. So I just go to Okay, right? Now I try to create a project here. Django admin. Okay, start the project. And this is ORM. So relation or ORM project. I just take ORM project 1. So open the project, ORM project 1. Now this is my project. So open the project here. So this is a project, and within this project, you try to create a application. So create the application here. So after creating the project, so what you do is create the application. So here I'm writing Python. So Python minus dot py. Okay, start application 1. So Python minus dot py start application 1. So we created project and we also created what here application. So after this, what you do is you configure, you install the application. So you install the application here. And what you do is configure the database. So what is my database is MySQL. My database is MySQL. And define the database name. And what is the database name? Tester DB DB test. Okay. What is database name is DB test. And then database username, which is nothing but root, and database password. Okay, database password is again what here? Root. And database host name. And you are saying where your database is available in local host. If you know the IP address, you can give the IP address and give the port number 3306. Okay, right? So we define all the database details. So we define all the data details. And after that, next what we have to do, we have to create a model. We have to create a models. Now go to the models and we have to create how many models here? 2 models. One is called which model? Employee model. And one more is what? Employee ID card model. So employee model is having name as well as what? Department. And employee ID card model is having employee and card number as well as what? Issue date. So here what I'm doing is I'm trying to develop 2 models here. Now there is a class. What is the name of the class is employee model class. So I just take this one. Directly I'm taking this. So this is a model class. And what is the name of this model here? Employee. What employee is having? Employee is having a name as well as what? Department. Now here you try to override which method? String method. And whenever you override str method, I said str, this is called as which method? Magic method. And then when this magic method get executed, this str is called magic method. And when this magic method is executed, this magic method is executed whenever you convert your object into which type of string type. Okay, it means when your object is converted to a string by calling the function called which one? Str, when you are invoking which function? Print function. See, whenever you print an object, whenever you print your object get printed. Whenever you print the object, your object get printed by converting into which type? String type. I think you know print function, right? Print function. What print function will do? Suppose if I am writing print 10 comma 20 comma 30. So print function is printing how many values? 3 values. But actually print is printing 3 values. Huh? No. Print is not printing how many values? 3 values. Print is printing how many values? 1 value. Print is not printing 3 values. Print is printing how many values? 1 value. By concatenating all these values into one string. Okay, it will concatenate all these values within one string. Within one string, it will concatenate by using what? Separator. You have a separator or not? Yes, you have a separator. What is the default separator it uses? Comma. Comma, na space. Space. 10 space, 10, 20 space, what is it? 30. At the end, what it will insert here? Backslash n. So what will happen here? It is printing one value or number of values? One value. So whatever values you are sending, all these values will be concatenated by using a separator called separator. And at the end, it is inserting which line? New line. At the end, it is inserting which line? New line. So this is what is happening. So it means print is converting every object into which type? String type. But how print is converting every object into a string type? By calling which function? str function. But what str function will do? Str function calls which method? Str method. Str function calls which method? Str method of your object. And str method of your object returns string representation of object. String representation of object means whenever you call print function, I'm telling you again. Okay, so this is how you develop user defined class. So what is the name of the class here? Employee. So what employee is having? Now this is a constructor here. This constructor receive employee number and employee name. So self dot employee number equal to employee number and self dot employee name equal to employee name. So what is the name of this class is? Employee class. Okay, employee class. Now I'm creating object of which class? Employee class by giving employee number and by giving what here? Employee name. So employee is a user defined data type or predefined? User defined. For example, I'm creating object of which class? Complex class. So is it a complex class is a predefined class or user defined? Predefined. So where I'm giving 1.2 and 1.3. So what is 1.2 is here? Real. What is 1.3 is here? Imaginary. 1.2 is a real and 1.3 is what? Imaginary. So what will happen if I print a complex number 1? So whenever you print the complex number 1, what print function is doing? Converting this complex number 1 into which type? String type. And how it will convert this complex number 1 into a string type? By calling which method? str method. Now if you run this code, you can see 1.2, 1.3j. So this is which type of value? String value. It is printing which value? String. This is string. It is printing which one? String. It is combining these two values, real and imaginary, within one parenthesis and separating with what? Comma. But what will happen if I print? What will happen if I print employee 1? If I print employee 1, is it print the values? No. It is printed some information saying that this employee object is created in which module? Main module. Main module. What is the main here? Module name. An employee object at this particular address. But I don't want this information. I want to print like this. Then what do you do it? Override. What do you do it? Override. Override which method? str method, and you are saying return within what you can say format within parentheses. I'll say self dot employee number comma self dot employee number comma self dot employee name. So what will happen now if you run this? Is it printed? Insert the value self dot employee number comma self dot employee number comma self dot employee name. If you run this, this is employee number and this is name. So there is an employee number and there is what here name, right? So this is how it is. So whenever you override str method, this str method is called whenever you print or whenever you convert your object into which type? String type. So whenever you print your object, you want to print your object in which format? String format. Okay, string format. Then you are using which method? str method. So here also you are overriding which method? Here also you are overriding which method? str method. Means whenever you print employee model object, whenever you print which object? Employee model object, it will print what? Name. It will print what? Name. Will it print object ID or will it print name? Name. It doesn't print object ID. It doesn't print object ID. It will print what? Name. So because of that, you override which method here? str method. str is a method of which class? str is a method of which class? This str is a method of which class? Which class? This str is a method of which class? Object class. This str is a method of which class? Object class. Object class. Okay, every class. For every class, which one is the super class? Object class. Every class you write in Python, every class, what you write in Python, that class is automatically inherit. That class is automatically inherit. Which class? Object class. So every class in Python is what here? Object. Who uses the methods of object class? Python virtual machine. Who uses the object class methods? Python virtual machine, or it is used by other functions, other functions to manage which one? Object. So whatever methods are there in object class, all the methods are which methods? Magic methods. All these methods are which methods? Magic methods. So for managing any object, you try to override the methods of which class? Object class. Understood? So we have seen in our regular class, but if you remember, if you don't remember, I cannot do anything. Okay, yes, we override some methods. Which methods we override? str method. Inka, how? Some more methods we override, right? Equals method. Add greater than. So operator overloading is nothing but writing which methods? Magic. So for every operator there is equivalent magic method. So whenever you build your own data type, for your data type, will you build operators or not? Yes. Yes or no? This is which class here? Employee class. Employee model. Employee model having how many fields? Two fields. One is name and one more is a department. And what is the maximum length of name is given? 100. What is the maximum length of department is given? 50. But both are which fields? Character fields. Now I created with how many fields here? Two fields. But there is one more field is created automatically or not? Yes. If there is no primary key field in your model, by default, your database engine create one primary key field. What is that? ID. ID, right? So this is the employee model. And there is one more model. And what is that? Another model is employee ID card model. Now, whenever you print this object, See, whenever you print this object, whenever you print this object, what is the name of the class here? Employee ID card. And this is inherit which class? Model class. Now here, now you are generating one-to-one relationship. Yes or no? You are generating one-to-one relationship. But what employee ID card is inherited from which class? Model class. Actually, employee ID card is having a card number as well as what? Issue date. So you are issuing this card, you are issuing this employee ID card to what? Employee. You are issuing this employee ID card to what? Employee. So what is the name of this column here? Employee. And you are saying model dot. What is the field type here? One to one field. Now what is the field type here? Character field. What is the field type here? Date field. And date field you are saying auto now add equal to true means you don't require to insert this data. This data will be generated what? Automatically. It will take which data? Now is in date time module we have seen now. Now is nothing but which date and time? System date and time. System date and time. And this is generated automatically or is it required to insert? Generated automatically. So then model dot character field maximum length is 20. You are saying unique equal to what? True. It means card number should be what here? Unique. Card number must be unique. And what is the maximum length is given? 20. And this ID card you are issuing to which employee? You are issuing this ID card to one employee or not? Yes. Then you should generate a relationship between employee and what? Employee ID card. Okay, you should generate a relation between employee and what? Employee ID card. Then you required one field. You required one field that should generate what? Relationship between what? Employee and employee ID card. So what is the name of that field? Employee. What is the name of that field? Employee. And employee is